I don't know what it is, but whenever I do one of these videos where I'm sitting down and I'm talking to the camera like this, as opposed to holding a camera and talking to it like vlog style, I always feel super nervous and I can't quite get my head around why, but I'm gonna push through it. I've got this fancy microphone. I'm trying to step up my audio game for you guys. Somebody left a comment the other day saying that I should do more question and answer videos, and somebody else left a comment saying that I should do like an updated like get to know me tag video, and then I put it on my Insta stories and asked you guys so that I could have some questions that make a little bit more personal as well. So I'm just going to go through these questions and just let you guys know a little bit about what's going on with me. And my computer is trying to get me to update, which I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna postpone it for now, otherwise I won't be able to read these questions. All right, let's get on with it. Where did I grow up? So I actually grew up all over the place. I was almost born in the jungle of West Papua, but because my mum was the only nurse in the village where we lived, she decided to fly back to Scotland and have me in Scotland. And then when I was, I think, a few months old, I flew back into the highlands of West Papua, which is where my parents worked. My mum was a missionary there for 14 years. My dad was a missionary there for 12. And I was there until I was about 2.5. And then I moved to Scotland, which is where I lived until I was about 5. Then we moved to Melbourne, which I lived there until I was like 7. Then we moved to Ocean Grove, lived there till I was about 10. Then we moved to Mackay in Queensland. I lived there till I was 13. Then we moved to Dubbo in New South Wales, which was this crazy small country town. Lived there for about a year. And then we moved back to Geelong, which is where I lived for, most of my teenage years. And then I moved to Melbourne. So I've literally lived all over the place. So when people ask me that question, I never really know what to say. I guess I just kind of end up saying Geelong because it's where I've spent most of my time. How tall am I? I am 5'11". What is my favorite drink? I think you guys know the answer to this one. It is Coke, but I don't drink as much of it as I used to, and I'm still continuing to try to cut down because Ava gives me a really hard time about it. What cologne do I wear? It's called Invictus, I think that's how you pronounce it. What sport did you play in high school? I played a lot of basketball growing up. It's something I wasn't naturally good at, but I'm the type of person when I really like something, I put in the extra effort and push myself to be good at it. And I used to practice a lot until I was about 15. And then when I was 15, I guess I got in with the wrong group of people. I was doing just a lot of stupid stuff. And I stopped focusing on sports and started focusing on just dumb things. I gave up basketball, and I really regret that. If I could go back in time, I would go back to playing sport because it probably would have kept me out of a lot of trouble. What is my idea of a dream date? And then there was a lot of questions about dating as well. I am not focused on dating right now. That is literally the last thing that I'm thinking about. I'm not trying to date right now. But what is my idea of a dream date? I think like hiking or going somewhere that's like exploring or somewhere adventurous or somewhere where you have an opportunity to really talk with that person and get to know them, as opposed to your generic like movie dates or dinner dates, which I think are kind of boring and cliche in comparison to something where you can, actually really get to know the person. But as I said, dating is not really something that I'm really thinking about right now. Right now, all my energy is just going into my life and my kids and just providing for them. How would I describe my fashion sense? My fashion sense, I feel like it changes every day. Like I'll go from wearing like baggy t-shirts like I'm wearing now, like just real like street sort of clothing, to wearing like really fitted, more dressy clothes. It just really depends on my mood. I'm always switching it up. I don't really have just one sense of style. Do I have any bad habits? I think one of my worst habits, which is something that I've been getting in trouble about ever since I was a little kid, it used to have me sitting in the naughty corner at school all the time, is I talk too much. I don't know when to shut up. I feel awkward around silence, so I'm always talking to fill in those blank spaces, and I know it can kind of be annoying at times. So even on my videos, like right now, I'm probably talking a little bit too much. Also, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. When I care about something, I really want it done right, and that can be a little bit annoying as well. Tell us something about you we wouldn't know. I'm going to tell you guys something that literally only a handful of people know, aside from people who are in my family. I had Tourettes when I was a kid. I think I started getting nervous tics when I was in like grade 1. I had all these different like tics where I would like blink my eyes funny. I would click my tongue. I would make squeaky noises. I would do like little like movements, and I had that from about grade 1 until I was maybe, I would say I kind of learned to deal with it by about age 13. I was never actually diagnosed with it. I remember my mum took me to a doctor about it when I was a kid, and he wanted to put me on medication, and my mum didn't want to put me on that sort of medication that he wanted to put me on, and then we just kind of never spoke about it after that. But yeah, it was one of those things, I guess, for a long time I was really embarrassed about. It's something that I never wanted to tell anybody about, and I was really self-conscious about when I was a kid, because it was something that I couldn't really control. Like I didn't have Tourette's in the way that I would, like randomly swear and stuff like that, and that's how they portrayed in the movies. I had Tourette's in the way where I had a lot of nervous twitches, and I couldn't really control them. Like the way that you feel is, it's like, imagine trying not to blink for a really long time. It's something that you can do, but you have this insatiable feeling where you really want to do it. You need to do it. But the difference is you blink for a reason, obviously to clean your eyes, but the twitches that you have with Tourette's, you don't actually do for a reason. You just feel the need to do them. And then when you do them, you feel kind of like some sort of sense of relief. And that's something that was really hard for me to deal with and get over. And I think by about the age of 13 or so, I managed to get over it and stop doing all the twitches. I still sometimes now when I'm stressed have this like eye twitch that I do where I blink for sort of like that. A lot of the time I don't actually notice that I'm doing it. It's not until I'm like editing a vlog or something and I notice that I was doing it, or maybe a close friend will be like, hey dude, what's up with your eyes? I don't know. That's sort of like the remnants of it, but I've pretty much got over it. I think a lot of people who have Tourette's when they're young end up kind of getting over it as they get older, but some people aren't so lucky. I actually didn't really know what Tourette's was until I think I was in my teenage years, and I was watching like Jerry Springer or some kind of show like that, and there was a guy who had like a really severe case of it, and I was like, damn, so that's what I've got. Like that's why I'm always doing this weird twitching, but nobody really knows that I used to deal with that because, as I told you guys earlier on in the video, I moved around a lot. I went to a lot of different schools. So the people who I know later in life, they never really got to see that Jamie. So it was something that I just managed to kind of like push away in my past. And I think I was really self-conscious talking about it or telling people about it because I had other stuff like, like chronic fatigue and stuff like that. So I didn't want to be that guy where people were like, man, there's so much wrong with you. So I just kind of kept that to myself. But I don't know, that's something that nobody really knows about me, and now I'm just putting it out there. What is my favorite movie? So I have two favorite movies, and they're both really embarrassing to admit to. The first one is You've Got Mail. And the reason that I think I love that movie so much is when DVDs first came out, it was around Mother's Day. And so we got a DVD player, but we didn't have any DVDs to play on it. So I bought my mum You've Got Mail for Mother's Day because obviously, chick flick. And I was so impressed by the amazing video quality of DVD over VHS that I would watch that movie over and over just because I was so enamored with how amazing the quality was. But then I ended up getting really sucked into the storyline and the characters. And it's one of those movies where if I'm having a bad day and I need a little bit of a pick-me-up, I will watch that movie. And I still get low-key mad at Tom Hanks at the end because I feel like he was a bit of a douchebag to Meg Ryan. And spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the movie, he doesn't help her get her bookstore back, which I kind of feel like he should have. But let's not go into all of that. And then my other favorite movie is Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, which is a Wayans brother movie. I know every word of that movie. It's just really cheesy, but it's just a really funny movie. I love that movie. And also, I got to throw in Scarface as well. What are my pet peeves? My biggest pet peeves are people who talk down to cab drivers or I guess Uber drivers or fast food workers. I feel like you can tell a lot about a person's personality when you go in a cab with them or when you go to a fast food place with them, because there's certain people who I don't understand why, but when you put them in a position where they feel like somebody is working for them, their whole personality just switches up. And that's a pet peeve of mine. And yeah, I don't really like when people act like that. My other pet peeve is people who go shopping and just leave their shopping trolleys just laying around the car park because the wind blows them into people's cars and stuff. Like, I don't understand why they can't just take a few seconds to go and put their trolley back. So this is a bit of a random one. You're going out with your friends, describe your night. So I'm kind of awkward when I go out. I don't know why. Like, I'm not really a dancer. I literally can't dance, and I don't really drink. I can't deal with a hangover. I have a crappy immune system, so a hangover for me is like generally a week of being sick, and I just can't afford that time of being sick. So I generally don't drink. So I'm normally the guy in the club who's kind of just awkwardly standing there or just chilling in the booth. I used to work in the nightclub industry. When I had my own film company, I used to kind of be the go-to guy in Melbourne for nightclub videos. So I know a lot of people in the industry. So when I go out, I'm generally just chatting to people, catching up with people. But if I'm not doing that, I'm kind of just awkwardly sitting there because I'm not really like being on partying. I'm a bit boring, and I've always been a bit like that. 3 things I love. Ava, Zoe, Louie. There you go. That's easy. I guess you could probably put them into one. Cars. I really, really love cars. And obviously cinematography. That's my passion right there. 3 things I'm scared of. I'm really scared of flying. Flying is my biggest fear. I'm scared of making mistakes with my kids. I think that's every parent's worst fear. You just don't want your kids to ever end up in therapy for any reason. And I'm scared of spiders. I really, really don't like spiders. I feel like spiders are scarier than snakes because they sneak up on you. What has fatherhood taught me? I think the biggest thing that it's taught me is patience and not sweating the small stuff. Like, if your kids are acting silly, running around a bit crazy, so long as they're not putting themselves in danger, they're not doing anything that's immoral, they're not hurting anybody or really annoying anybody, just let them do it. Just zone out a little bit and don't let it bother you. I feel like being able to find that woosah space when your kids are going a little bit crazy and you can just sort of like zone out to it all. I think that's one of the greatest things that I've learned from being a parent, and I apply it to other stressful situations in my life. When I'm stressed, I just sort of like go into my Zen place, my woosah place, and I'm just like, it's so good. What was I like when I was a kid? From what I remember and what I've been told, I was a lot like Ava. I was very talkative. I was very inquisitive. People would always say I was very much an old soul. Like, adults could talk to me as if I was an adult. I had a really big heart. I was always concerned for other people, but I was also very hyperactive, and being very hyperactive got me into a lot of trouble. Ava's pretty much my double. So much so it kind of scares me sometimes. Would I ever live anywhere other than Melbourne? No, because I could never leave my kids. Like, being away from them for longer than a week or two is really, really hard. So the thought of actually living anywhere other than them, I definitely couldn't deal with that. But if I didn't have kids, I could definitely see myself living in New York or London. I love both of those cities. I find them really inspiring. But I will definitely be living in Melbourne forever, or at least until the kids are growing up, and maybe they leave me, and and then maybe, who knows, when I'm retired where I'll end up. Would I ever start my own production company? That's actually something that I have been thinking about. I used to have my own film company before YouTube became my full-time gig. It was a small one, but a film company nonetheless. And yeah, I think one day I probably will get back into that side of things. It would be kind of cool to be able to juggle YouTube and that style of cinematography as well. So that's definitely something I can see in my future. All right, here's a question that I get asked all the time. Jamie, would you like to have more kids in the future? I love both of my girls. I love the number two. I feel like the number two is perfect. I get to give them both like a great amount of quality time. And I feel like if I was to ever have another kid, I may not be able to give them the same amount of time that I enjoy giving them right now. So I don't see myself having any other kids in the future. Who knows? That could change one day. But for now, the answer is no. I'm pretty happy with the way things are. What is the hardest thing about being a parent? I feel like the hardest thing about being a parent is not knowing if you're making the right or wrong decisions in your parenting style, because a lot of the time you don't find out if you've done the right thing until later on down the track. So you just gotta use your heart and your morals and your faith as guidance that you're doing the right thing, and hope for the best. And that's what I'm trying to do as a parent. I'm just trying to go with my heart and a little bit of my brain as well. And I hope that one day down the track, my kids tell me that I did a good job. I know during their teenage years they probably won't, but I really pray that when they're adults, they think that I did a good job and that I put them first. What's my favorite book? I can't really pick a favorite book because there's so many good ones that I've read. So I'm going to tell you guys the book that made me fall in love with reading, and that was Confessions of a Master Jewel Thief. It's the life story of this guy called Bill Mason. It is one of those books where it's just so exciting you can't put it down. And ever since reading that book, I became a massive book nerd. So if you're looking for a good book and you love crime stuff, check it out. What do I love most about being a dad, and has it changed me? Being a dad has definitely changed me in a lot of ways. It's taught me about patience. It's made me really think about how my actions affect others. When I first found out that I was having Ava, I gave up my job. And a big part of that decision was because I didn't feel like my job reflected the type of parent that I wanted to be, because I was shooting a lot of music videos. I was working with a lot of rappers. I was shooting, like booty shaking, twerking sort of like music videos, stuff that I would never want my daughter to be in, and definitely wouldn't ever want her to see that I was filming that sort of stuff. Something that really inspired me, and I don't know if it's true or not, but either way it inspired me, was I heard that when Chris Tucker became a father, he stopped playing roles like Smokey, and that's one of the reasons why they struggled to get him in the Friday movies after he had a kid, because he didn't want his kids seeing him play those sort of roles because he thought it would influence them. And I had the same sort of mindset with my kids, that I didn't want to influence them by making those sort of music videos anymore. So I gave up that part of my life, which was like something I was really passionate about, something I really loved. Like I had these dreams of being a big music video director, and I was kind of heading in that direction. I had all of the contacts, but I also feel like I wouldn't have been a great example for my kids following in those footsteps that I was taking at that point in time. So becoming a father definitely changed me a lot. What is my favorite TV show at the moment? Easy, it's got to be Power. I can't believe it's nearly over though. Seriously, what am I going to do when it finishes? It's so bittersweet. Like I'm so excited to watch every episode, but at the same time, I don't want to watch it because it's like every time I watch a new Power episode, we're one step closer to it being the final one, which kind of sucks. I want to get you guys to comment below on what you think's going to happen, but at the same time, I don't want any spoilers. So do as you will with that, guys. What's the hardest part of being a single parent to kids of the opposite gender? That's actually a really good question. I feel like it probably would be easier for me to be a single dad if I had sons. I definitely have to think about what I'm doing a lot more. Things don't necessarily come as natural as they would if it's, if you have a kid who's the same sex as you. I've had to learn a lot about hair, which is something that I was learning about before I was a single dad, but I've really had to step my game up with it since becoming a single dad, because I know that that's something really important in a girl's life. And it's something that's very alien to me, learning how to do girls' hair. Like even if their texture wasn't different to mine, just learning girls' styles is so different to the way that I do my hair. So that's been a really big learning process. I think also learning to be just really extra sensitive, because girls are a lot more sensitive than boys. So I have to learn how to speak to them a lot differently than I would if I had a son. Learning how to dress little girls has been a big learning curve as well, because before I was a single parent, I would know that they were gonna get their, like pretty dresses and bows and girly shoes and stuff like that. So when I went shopping for them, I would always buy them, like Jordans, cool sneakers, t-shirts, streetwear sort of stuff, which I still like them wearing, but I understand girls don't want to be dressed like that all the time. It has its time and place. So I've had to learn how to go out and shop for really girly stuff as well, so that I'm not just trying to push wearing the sort of stuff that I would like to see them wearing. I want them to be wearing the type of clothes that really make them happy, and that's been a big learning curve. But I feel like I'm doing all right. I don't mean to big up myself or anything like that, but I'm putting a lot of effort into it, and I'm learning a lot every single day. And I know I'm probably making mistakes as I go along, but I'm definitely learning from those mistakes and just seeing the way that they appreciate the effort that I'm putting into it. That just makes it all worth it. And I just pray that they will continue to be that appreciative as they get older. Somebody said, do you still love doing YouTube, or has it become a chore? I feel like there was a point where it was becoming a little bit of a chore, where I was just focusing on the fact that it was work and I needed to do it because this was the only way that I was paying my bills and providing the life for my loved ones that I wanted to be able to provide. And that was kind of getting in the way of enjoying the whole process of it. I thought about just giving up. I was like, look, I need to go back to just doing traditional videography. That's how I'm going to be able to provide for myself and my kids in the future. And then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to have fun with YouTube again. I'm just going to make videos that I enjoy making. Sometimes they're going to be creative and they're not going to get any views, but I don't care because I'm going to enjoy making them. And then the videos that I make with my kids, I want to have these memories for me to watch in the future. And if I'm going to be completely honest, the videos that I make with my kids, I'm constantly watching them when they're not here with me. And so I'm making the type of videos that I want to be able to watch. And they're a lot more home video-y now. They're filmed on my iPhone a lot of the time, or a GoPro. They're not so professional. They're not edited the way that they used to be. They're just really for the sake of capturing memories, which is how it started in the beginning. And I'm really, really enjoying making videos again. And I'm enjoying the fact that even though now my audience is smaller, the people who are watching, for the most part, are watching for the right reasons, and it motivates me to continue making more videos. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up here and call that my last question for the day. Thanks so much for sitting through this really long video. I just thought it was time to just check in with you guys and make a video that's just a little bit more personal. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit the thumbs up.